John. But now the PSAL is making it a rule that you can't scrimmage a week before the season starts. The only reason you did that was why? Or only thing you did accomplished by doing that was limiting
more people to go to school.
That's all you did. That's the only reason. To me, it would make no sense. They have no explanation at all. But it's not legal. It's an unfair advantage for one school. Well, he did it. Everybody else can do it. So how about we all start doing it? How about we all start giving our kids an opportunity to get put on a national platform? Because bottom line is, and this is what gets me so upset, it's gonna sound messed up. But majority of the kids in these environments that we come from in Brooklyn, East New York, Flatbush, Canarsie, Brownsville, Bed-Stuy, their only opportunity of getting out of the quote-unquote hood is through athletics. Their only motivating factor to go to school is athletics. You live in a box, an apartment in the projects. You walk out of your apartment, all you see is poverty and pain. Only thing these kids want to do is play ball. And you're going to limit their opportunities to be seen for doing what they do well?
Just to do what?
To do what? Like, there's no reason why. You understand what I'm saying?
I mean, because there's the stigma behind Grand Street, and we'll talk about the transfer and everything, because that's a whole nother issue. But I think
it's not a whole nother issue. It's a good issue.
You think? Okay, because everybody's question is like, okay, why?
Well, this is what I hear mostly from parents when it comes time for the whole transfer situation, right? Let's be honest. This has been going on long before Bruce. It's been going on with basketball in the PSAL for years. When I was in high school, my first varsity game was against Sebastian Telfair in Lincoln.
Yeah.
They had 9 transfers that year, juniors and seniors, from Christ the King, from Holy Cross, because Sebastian Telfair was going to Lincoln. The lights are going to be on him. I want to play where he is so that I can get to college for free. See, what people are missing is that these kids are not transferring to these different places to win a championship. They could give a shit about a championship. It's about getting out of the hood. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it's my son, and I'm being perfectly honest, if it's my son, and he's at a school where his coach is doing nothing for him, nothing, barely in the building, doesn't care if he lifts, doesn't care about his academics, then there's another coach who's helping kids get into college, I'm taking my son out of that school. Why? Because I have the right. This is public school. You're not paying for my kid's education. You're gonna tell me I can't take my kid from a public school to another public school because of competition reasons? Are you kidding me? So I have to take my son and leave him in a bad situation because of competition reasons. Get out of here. You can't tell me that. It's not. If you think about it, it doesn't make any sense. And what Bruce is doing is no different than what Danny Landberg did when he first came back. When I came back in 2010, everybody hated Danny Landberg the same way that they hated Bruce. You want to know why? Danny forced people to be accountable. When I came back, Danny took Wayne Morgan, 5'11", 175-pound sophomore at the time, on a plane to USC. He ran a 4.3 in the 40 and got offered from Pete Carroll. So you know what that did? That brought national attention to Erasmus. Coaches were upset about that. How dare he take a kid to, he used that as a recruiting tool. How dare he take that? Danny didn't only take that kid, he took kids from other schools to Rutgers, to Syracuse, to Maryland. And you know what happened? Parents started asking questions. Well, coach, the coach at Erasmus is taking kids here. Like, how come we're not doing that here? And now it forced those coaches to be accountable and do things that they didn't want to do. There's a lot of coaches in this league that are lazy. Bottom line, they've been on the job for 10, 20 years. They don't want to get in a van. And not for nothing, what Danny did was hard. When you're young, same thing what Bruce did is hard. Like, it's hard to get kids, get them in a van, spend your own money. But when you have a vision for your program and what you want to do, you know what I'm saying? It's worth it for them. And they were young enough to do it. Some of the older coaches don't want to get with it.
The whole thing with Grand Street, it was just like, well, why are you coming into my backyard? And this is something that I've talked to people about. And I was like, why are you coming into my backyard to try to come into my kids? And now it seems like instead of you possibly coming up and saying, hey, I just want to help your kid, now it's behind the coach's back or whatever the case may be.
There's a lot of things going on in that whole realm that people aren't speaking on, and I'll speak on it. For one, is parents. All right? I sat here and watched parents play coaches against each other. I watch a parent go to another coach behind their coach's back and say, I'm thinking about moving my son.
Yeah, transferring.
And then the coach says, well, did you speak to your coach? Nah, I don't want to tell the coach because if I decide not to move my son, I don't want him to feel away. So I just want to find out what your program's about before I move my son. And then the coach said, fine, well, it's your kid. I'm not, that coach is not going to go behind the parents' back and tell the coach, because you're right. If she doesn't move her son or he doesn't move her son and he stays, he's in a bad situation. So the coach just doesn't say anything. And of course, some of the coaches like, shoot, I'm going to use this opportunity. I'm going to recruit this kid. You came to me. I'm going to recruit the kid. So now the parent is going back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Now it's time for the parent to move the kid. Parent moves the kid. You know the first thing they say? Well, coach came to me. Because everybody wants to be hands off. Nobody wants to be the bad guy. I sat here and watched plenty of people do that. And not only in Brooklyn. I watch parents do that everywhere. And my thing is,
It's everywhere.
it wouldn't be this way if there was something in place to hold coaches accountable. Because if, like, for example, if I was the commissioner of the PSAL, right, I would make certain things mandatory. So, for example, you have a budget for the PSAL. Your job with this budget is to make sure that funds are allocated to go certain places. Part of your budget has to be allocated to taking your kids to college visits. That would eliminate the whole, oh, well, Danny's doing it, my coach ain't doing it. Bruce is doing it, my coach is doing it. Another part of the budget would be allocated to SAT prep. Those two things there alone kind of even the playing field. If it's mandatory that you take your kids to college visits, a lot of kids will be able to go. You see what I'm saying? It's as simple as that. And then parents wouldn't have to play on coaches to get their kids opportunity. Because I'll be honest, man, I watch desperate parents try to find ways to get their kids opportunities to get out of Brooklyn. College is $60,000.
Huge problem.
It is a huge problem. College
That's
is too
a whole
expensive.
other issue. We can get into Donald Trump and all that, but I think it's a huge issue because I think at the end of the day, it's more than just high school football. And I think of course we want to win a championship, and that's all that matters. But I think we want to use this high school football to get our kids into college, and I think that we can't get there because we don't, they don't give us the resources.
You just hit it on the head though. We don't have the resources here in New York to get enough kids to college. I don't give a shit about winning the championship.
Right.
I played at Madison. My first year there, we went 4-4. My second year, we went 7-2. Never went to the playoffs. 4 years in college, never been to the playoffs. 3 years in the NFL, never been to the playoffs. But you know what I got out of all of that? That's about 13 years of football. You know what I received out of all of that? An education, a foundation, a network. Things that can carry me for the rest of my life. That's what's at stake here. And I think people try to marginalize what our kids go through by saying, oh, kids are transferring because they want to win championships. Championships are not what's at stake here, people. It's not the championships. It's the resources, the opportunity to get my child seen. And some people see that if I go to a certain school, my kid is going to get a better opportunity.
CSEO says it when they open up the schedule. It's the A division. What's the A division? Grand Street, Lincoln, Ehall, Curtis, Thomas. Those are the five.
That's it.
That's the only schools that they probably. I mean, obviously, there's different situation when Ebenezer was at Jefferson and Clemson came in, and that's
Absolutely.
And that's like one in a lifetime. But the only schools that they're really going to, they're only going to go to Ehall. They're only going to go to those schools.
You said it out loud, but that's the fact, though. When I speak to these college coaches of what schools they're going to, they go to Poly Prep, they go to Lincoln, they go to Erasmus, they go to Grand Street, they go to Townsville. That's what they say to me. That's where I'm going to school. Those guys have kids every year. Yes. And if I'm going to go, it's a gamble of whether or not they're going to have a kid that year. That's the only places I know to go. The other places in the city is not even worth it, right. Which is unfortunate for kids. Because it says to parents, like, well, I got to get my kid in that school. Right. And is it fair to the coaches in other schools? No, it's not fair. But if the resources were there for our kids in all of the schools, we wouldn't have this problem. And then it's like, who do you blame? Who do you blame? You know what I'm saying? You can point the finger at the parents. You can point the finger at the coaches. The bottom line is there's limited resources here. And now we're all struggling to get whatever resources are available. And when that happens, this is what you get.
If we're going to, is there a way to fix it? And is it a way to fix it is that, we get SAT
There's no
prep.
short-term fix. Everyone's looking for immediate, instant gratification. There's no short-term fix. This is something that's going to take time. You're going to have to institute some sort of rules and regulations and funds. Try to get as much funds as possible. But even as far as funds is concerned, it's against the rule in PSAL. If the parent coalition raises funds for their school, those funds go to the school. That doesn't mean the school has to use it for football. You see what I'm saying? So it's like there's so many rules in place that limits the parent's involvement that it kind of makes it difficult for a parent to make a decision. Does it make it right or wrong? No, I'm not going to sit here and say the whole transfer situation is right because I don't agree with it. I think there are definite people who are bandwagon hoppers who are just like, you know what? Everybody's going there, I'm going there. There's definite people that's doing that, and there's definite coaches.
I'm like, yo, why are you over there? You're going into your senior year. Like,
well, you got to look at the mindset of the athlete too. Some kids will get a rude awakening. They weren't playing for 3 years at the school that they were, so they feel like if I go somewhere else, I'm gonna play there. No, then you get there and you didn't play while you were there, and then you're upset at the coach that you transferred to. It happens. Some kids, they just got to learn the hard way. Everybody that transfers doesn't transfer for the right reason. Every coach that tries to get a kid to transfer isn't doing it for the right reasons. Yeah, this has been happening though. Even when I was in school, when I was in school, man, it was basketball was the big thing. Now it's just football. So with it being football, people are starting to bring the heat. I think this is unfair, this is wrong, blah, blah, blah. I get it. The bottom line is, let's look at what it really is. It's a limited resources in a pool of people who are looking for a way out. And when people can't get out, they're going to make their own way. So there's no short-term fix. It's just something that's going to take time.
So, New York City football. We talked about the bad and, the problems that we're having, but how can we fix it? What's the solution to NYC football?
Well, the biggest solution right now that a lot of people are utilizing is social media. We have to create platforms for our athletes to be seen on a bigger stage. I, for one, am trying my hardest to do that. I started a program called NYC Top 200, where we've invited 150 colleges to see the top talent in the city. And we're not just talking about Division I talent. We're talking about Ivy League, Division II, Division III, 1AA talent. We just want the top athletes in New York City to come to one place. I've partnered with ESPN to get the showcase streamed live. Yeah, it's going to happen July 11th and July 12th. It's called the New York City FID Top 200. You can see it on my Facebook page, but it's a big deal because for the first time in New York City history, we're going to have a camp just like the Under Armour week of practice. The coaches are going to be mic'd. It's going to be streamed live. So if a coach wants to see what the best talent in New York City looks like, they can see it in real time. And we're going to have, I'm asking all of the players that are interested in being involved in this showcase to submit their names, submit their huddle profiles, and we're going to pick the best. So regardless of whether you get picked or not, I have your huddle profile. Indiana comes in here one day, Clemson comes in here one day, and they're looking for a defensive end from Curtis. I can pull it up. I say, you know what? I got a kid. I can pull it right on my computer. I've done it plenty of times. And what we should start to do is create a database between the coaches, because I want it to be a point where the coach from Alabama can come up to New York and be able to get in contact with whoever he wants to get into about whatever kid instantly. Right now, it's just me. If coaches, that's why a lot of coaches come to PacPlex. People probably ask, why do coaches go to PacPlex? It's not even a school.